Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Thank you for watching. This video is all raw footage from my drone on a boom over we did in West Hartford for the basement. The video itself has no audio because drones don't have audio. It'd be kind of hard to hear over the sound of the drone, period, anyway. So there's no audio with it, but all the footage is raw footage of the job the whole entire time we were on the job, except for the last few minutes of basically putting away the crane. The battery in the drone was going dead, so I had to land it before it decided to land on its own. As you can see, there was a bunch of trees around, so I wanted to make sure I brought it down so it wouldn't come down in a tree. So hope you enjoy this video. It's again all drone footage of a basement. Hope you enjoy it. Please like. If you have any comments, leave them down below. Other than that, thank you for watching. Have yourselves a wonderful day. So, just a little context on this one. We were told when we headed out that it said rough terrain to basement as a walk around basement. That's the reason why I ended up booming over the garage. If we would have caught it on the side of the garage, you could see there's a rock wall that we would have to step down. While it's not impossible, it just is less chance with me booming over than having somebody trip coming down that rock wall carrying sheetrock, twisting an ankle or falling, getting hurt. This was the easiest and quickest versus having to walk down that rock wall every time. The rocks were loose. Don't want to take a chance of stepping on one when you have a bundle of 12-foot half-inch between two people. It weighs about 150, 160 pounds. Step on a rock and the rock kicks out from your foot and you fall and have the sheetrock fall on you. It's just a chance of getting hurt. Yes, there's the chance some people are going to say of booming over. What if the hydraulics fail? Unfortunately, the hydraulics can fail at any time if you want to actually be real about it. You're booming over your front end of your truck, booming over the back end of your truck to a third, fourth, fifth, sixth story window. What if the hydraulics fail? The bonus on these trucks is the safety systems. Unless a cylinder literally blows out, if you blow a hose, the crane's not going anywhere. It has safety valves that lock it from moving. So the chances of something happening are slim. Not impossible. It's mechanical. Anything can happen at any time. But it's no different booming over the roof of that garage than me booming up to a 6-story window with a full load of sheetrock. So it's not going to change. I'm more worried about if one of my guys gets hurt and they end up out of work and losing work because they got hurt versus, okay, the hydraulics, hose breaks, we cover something in hydraulic oil that can be cleaned up. If the boom happens to come down and break a little bit of the roof, it can be fixed versus somebody getting hurt and possibly being out of work an extended period of time or permanently having to change jobs. That's the risk assessment that we have to take. If I prefer booming over a roof of a garage, which is 1 story, 1.5 stories to reach a basement, versus booming 6 stories up with a full lift of steel, and now you're 65, 70 feet in the air, and the steel slides or the sheetrock slides. That comes down a long way, creates a lot of damage. So in this job, there's a risk in every single thing we do, no matter whether you're just booming straight up, whether you're booming over the roof of a porch because you need to hit a second floor window. Things happen. Unfortunately, it's construction. Things happen. So I went with the part that I thought was going to be the least risky for everybody involved.